Northern Jordan contains many magnificent historic locations. One such is Gerasa, today's Jerash, that is one of the most well-preserved metropolises of ancient Rome. The hippodrome at Gerasa could accommodate 15,000 spectators. Today, this Roman racecourse has been given new life. The name of this town originated long before the Greeks and Romans arrived in this region. But when it was named and by whom is not known. It's also unclear who founded Gerasa. Was it Alexander the Great, the Seleucids, or the Ptolemies of the 2nd century BC? What is known is that Gerasa had its economic and cultural high season in the 1st century AD while under Roman rule. Situated on a small hill, the Temple of Zeus was built in the years 162 and 163 AD. The increasingly prosperous city was popular with Nabatean traders. The city's success was reflected by its wonderful buildings. Gerasa developed quickly within the union of the Greek Dekapolis, a federation of 10 important ancient sites in the Near East. The city profited from the agriculture of the surrounding area and from ore mining in the nearby Aljun Mountains. This financial success gave rise to the city's large building projects, particularly in the 2nd century AD. The impressive Southern Theatre was built in the 1st century AD when Gerasa was under Domitian rule. Today, the auditorium can accommodate around 3,000. Restored in the 1950s, each year the theatre is transformed into a real hive of festive activity. The Jerash Festival of Culture takes place each summer and attracts hordes of visitors. The ancient city provides an atmospheric setting for various concerts. But all year round, there are numerous spontaneous performances. A further remarkable feature of the architecture here is the wide and almost 800-meter-long street, the Cardo Maximus, once the city's main street. The street was originally flanked by columns. 500 of these have survived, and a few of them have managed to survive the ravages of time extremely well. Since the 2nd century AD, Gerasa was part of the newly founded province of Arabia, which was under the rule of Emperor Trajan. This marked the beginning of a golden age. A visit to Gerasa by Emperor Hadrian resulted in another building boom. The city was further embellished and existing buildings enlarged. The tetrapylon at the junction of the Cardo Maximus and the Decumanus still demonstrates the monumental architecture of that time. Close to the tetrapylon are the remains of an ancient cathedral. It was constructed in the 4th century with building material taken from the Dionysus Temple. From the former cathedral, there's a splendid view across today's town of Jerash that has a population of 20,000. In the 3rd century AD, the city was designated as a colonia, a noble title which added to its influential standing. However, the gradual decline of Rome's power and supremacy also affected Gerasa. The city failed to achieve further prosperity. The ancient metropolis enjoyed a high season for a relatively short period, while under the rule of the Christian emperor Justinian. At this time, nearly a dozen churches were built here. Unfortunately, the builders of that time used the material from the surrounding temples as it was easily accessible. Directly south of the Artemis Temple, behind the cathedral, is the remains of the Sankt Theodor Church that has the three-aisled ground plan of a basilica. It dates back to the 5th century. Gerasa's prosperity while under the rule of Emperor Justinian came to a sudden end in 614 AD, when the city was conquered by the Sassanids. In contrast to the well-restored southern theatre, the small theatre in the north of the historic area of the city is not in such good order. Nevertheless, despite its poor state of repair, it's still used for various performances during the Jerash Festival of Culture. "20 years after the city's conquest by the Sassanids, Gerasa was conquered by the Arabs. In subsequent years, Gerasa lost its significance. The end came in 764 AD when a devastating earthquake struck. With this, almost the entire population abandoned the city. With the exception of a short occupation by the Crusaders, Gerasa remained uninhabited for many centuries and fell into decay. At the beginning of the 19th century, Gerasa was rediscovered by archaeologists. The 20th century brought with it new excavations that have since returned this amazing ancient city to the full light of day.